From the Oklahoma newsroom, this is a Varsity Update. I'm Jenny Carlson. Interesting goings-on at the OSSAA as Claremore asked for Oklahoma City Public Schools and Capitol Hill High School in specific to look at their attendance numbers. It could move Claremore into 5A and Capitol Hill from 5A up to 6A. Jacob Unruh joins us on the phone to talk about this. And Jacob, you know, these are two schools that by their attendance numbers on average are only separated by a couple students. It sounds like Claremore has taken issue with an alternative school that Capitol Hill is not counting among its numbers for the most part, but is in the district, so to say. Can you kind of give us an idea of where things stand at this point with this situation?
Well, basically, they came to the OSSAA and said, hey, there's Emerson High School, an alternative high school in Oklahoma City, that takes kids from all 10 districts, and they're not counting towards anyone's ADM. They're letting 11 kids play sports back at their home district. Two of them played at Capitol Hill. They played baseball last year, and here they are playing, but they're not counting towards the enrollment numbers for these schools, and it makes a difference because you've got 500 kids or a little more than 500 kids at Emerson, and you subtract virtual students, other students that go to Metro Tech from there, things like that, and it's about 300 and some odd students that should count towards the ADMs of the various 10 schools across the city, and it's going to change things. Namely, there's a really high chance that Capitol Hill will be the number 32 school now instead of 33, swapping with Claremore. There's a chance U.S. Grant could go up to Division I in football. There's a chance Star Spencer goes up to 3A. And it's just really unclear what happens at this point until the OSSAA gets the information of what students went where and why and things like that on the 21st.
Well, and Claremore obviously motivated by the fact that they, as it stands right now, they're the lowest attended 6A high school and are going to have to play against much bigger schools, but might drop down to that 5A level and suddenly become the biggest or one of the biggest 5A high schools, sort of wanting to compete against schools that are a little closer to them in size. But Jacob, you bring up this issue of the alternative schools and that many students and should they be spread out. You talked to Keith Sinar, the district athletic director for Oklahoma City, and he said, you know, this is a situation that's a little bit hard to gauge as a bigger school district. It's not a one high school district. Sounds like both sides are sort of grappling with some issues here, especially with Oklahoma City. How are they supposed to interpret all of this?
Yeah, I think Keith was a little caught off guard by this, and the OSSAA was caught off guard by this. No one necessarily knew that this was happening this way. The ADM numbers come from the Department of Education. They don't go directly to the OSSAA. So this is something that is kind of a shock to some people, and they're all trying to wrap their head around it. The biggest difference I learned yesterday is that their alternative schools like this like this one specifically is unique because Oklahoma City is the only one in the state that has a standalone fully accredited high school like Emerson for alternative schools. The other ones have programs and different schools they go to, but they're different than this. And so I think it was slipping through the cracks for years. So I don't think this is something that just started. It's been going on for years, and it is just now being brought to their attention. And I think Keith was a little caught off guard by it and is trying to figure out what to do moving forward. The OSSAA talked about possibly, you know, in the future having a co-op agreement with Emerson to co-op with the Oklahoma City schools, to where it's easier that way. Or Emerson becoming an OSSAA member but not playing sports, and they can co-op. And there's multiple scenarios that they're looking at to address this in the future. But right now they're just trying to get the numbers and figure out what they got to do for now. Well, it's pretty much a big mess. It's pretty much what it is.
Well, I think that begs the question, sort of in the short term, what is the next step or next couple steps? Because the OSSAA did approve this protest, but that doesn't necessarily move Claremore to 5A or Capitol Hill up to 6A. They're just saying that they want to look at this. So what's next? And if all of this does end up happening, would we see these two schools shift this year? What's sort of the short-term impact of all of this?
The next step is they'll apply the numbers of the ADMs. and go from there. They're going to do that for sure. The staff has been approved by the board to approve the ADM before next month's board meeting, and they'll get that approved so they can move forward with redistricting, because they've got next month they're going to approve the districts for football for the next 2 years. And that's what the big issue with Claremore is football. Immediately it would impact Capitol Hill would be in 6A in basketball, and other sports like that. Baseball, they'd be in 6A. They had to delay the baseball districting yesterday for the next 2 years because they got to fix the ADM first. It's gonna throw things around like that. Softball will stay the same. I think soccer, some of those sports that have already districted for this year will stay the same, but in the near future when they redistrict, it'll affect that, vice versa. The other thing is just Capitol Hill is probably going to be in 6A next year anyways for other sports. Keith made sure to point out to me that they were already going to blow past that ADM that they had this year to start the school year. They already had a lot more kids move into Capitol Hill. So they were going to 6A at some point. This just speeds the process up for football and baseball.
Yeah, definitely something to watch, though, as they figure out what to do with those Emerson students if they are going to apply to other schools, and could that move other schools around? We know you'll be following it and bringing it to us here on News OK and in the Oklahoman. And be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.